Should you buy, hold, or dump your Bitcoin? This is the topic we're going to discuss in our video today. Stay till the end of the video to find out if you should still buy, if you should dump now because the market will probably go down very heavily, or is there any other factors that will send Bitcoin to the moon? So let me share my screen with you and we will jump into the presentation of today. The title is Should you buy, hold, or dump your Bitcoin? And we will find out what are the factors, what is most likely to happen now in this time period. We are in May at the moment and we have seen Bitcoin jumping around between 109, 110, 109, 110, 111. So not really taking a decision. We're going sideways, and this makes it for a lot of investors very difficult to understand what is going on. But I can tell you, for me, it is very clear where Bitcoin will go. Let's find out what happened in a short time frame. We had this March rally where Bitcoin went up to 90, then we had in April a breakdown again. We had a May peak, which went up to 111, almost reached 112 at some exchanges. And then we had a little pullback again, all to this 108, 107, 110. Quite boring. It's always very short, exciting times, and then we have quite boring situations. We still have an ascending trend, as we see on the charts. We will shortly jump into the charts and we'll show you everything on the chart. On the chart, it's really clear to see what you should do. We also have other informations that just recently came in that will prove the direction I will tell you. At the end of the video, you will know if you should hold, buy, dump, swap, whatever. We have strong support levels at 108. We have a resistance that is at 112 at the moment, and we have a short-term target. The short-term target would be really to break through this 112 target, 112 resistance, and then go up to the moon best. But we could also break down, or is this not possible anymore? There are some price predictions. If you have not watched my video with the price predictions, click the video on top. You will see the price predictions that are most likely. We have looked at conservative, average, and bullish, very bullish moon prognosis for the Bitcoin price. And what we see now, we have still a price target, which is for most investors around 150 to 200. For some, it's much higher. We have massive institutional adoption, and we have a broad base of companies and other people coming in. And we have breaking news. Just this morning, or at the conference yesterday evening in my time zone, Trump announced that they will buy over 2 billion with their Trump holding company and will start to make a Bitcoin reserve. Very bullish news. But we also have to look at the chart, of course. We have extreme volatility. We have Bitcoin going up, going down. It's slumping around here, and it's really a hard time to decide. And we'll jump into the charts in a second. Let's just look at some forecasts. The average forecast is here in May 110 up to a maximum bullish scenario to 133. Then in June, it's raising 117 to 138. July 125 to 150, and August 130 to 160 around. Most of the people predict the Bitcoin price around this area. But what should you do if you're not invested now in Bitcoin? We will talk about this also. A lot of you are sitting on the sidelines. A lot of you are just in altcoins and have missed this rally. So for you, it probably seems that the season, the altcoin season, the moon season has not even started. But for Bitcoin holders, they have made a lot of gains already in these cycles. So are there still risks involved in Bitcoin? And we will see later in the charts what is really going on. What are the possible risks that could speak against a very bullish scenario? There's extreme volatility. There can still be extreme volatility. We have the ETFs coming in, dumping, buying. This is manipulating the market in a very heavy way because billions and billions are flowing in. One more risk that could happen is all this custodial security risk. So for example, if Coinbase would get hacked or other things would go wrong with MicroStrategy or with other big players, this could be a theoretical risk. I don't think we have to think too much about it. Also leading or speaking about strategy or MicroStrategy, like it was called before, the speculation flows, I think this could be a risk in the future. If for any reason the Bitcoin price would drop to a very low point over the next month, it could be a problem for MicroStrategy, not because Michael Saylor will get liquidated, but in the case that maybe a lot of investors want to sell their stocks, and then this will ravel on and get a problem. Macroeconomic factors, this could be positive or negative. If we have seen, it's mixed cases. Sometimes if something bad happens in the world, people need to take money out of whatever assets they have, especially if it happens on a weekend. We see drawdowns from Bitcoin or crypto because all the other assets are not accessible. We could see some scenarios where really something bad in the world happens and Bitcoin has outflows. But I think it's more the other way around, actually, that we have some bad things happen and people go into gold and Bitcoin because their currencies are devaluing. The inflation is eating away everything they have. Hold or dump. What is the decision framework? Basically, your decision framework really much depends on your time frame. You can buy all the time. If you are a long-term holder with all the bullish sentiment that we have, I'm talking about Trump company just buying in 2 billion, Strategy buying more and more, other companies are coming in. Steak and Shake, the franchise company in the US, now accepting Bitcoin on a wider range. More and more adoption is coming in now, all the ETF. If you're a long-term investor, I can't see any factors that would speak against investing now. You really need a holding strategy. So you need to be able to hold your coins safely with self-custody or with other setups, however you feel comfortable, however, what is your plan for it? A dump strategy would be to wait for a good dump and then sell it and then wait until Bitcoin goes down some thousands again and buy it. But this is not a long-term strategy. This is a short-term trading strategy that you can do. And of course, you can diversify depending how much money you have. Diversification is just a good idea if you have already loads of money. If you really need to make money, you need to find one asset, put your money in this asset, and hope that the asset will skyrocket. This is not financial advice, of course. You have to find out for yourself what you want to do. But I'm just saying, if you diversify, if you have too many assets, then what will happen to you is one asset will skyrocket, the other asset probably not, and then your profits, maybe you still have good profits, but you don't have the profits that you would have. This is why it's important to subscribe to the channel. We find new gems all the time. We have, for example, Hyperliquid. I showed you Hyperliquid very early, Sui very early, Solana very early, Tau, and so on. All these projects that are talked about in inner circles, but the public doesn't really know. I will let you know what these projects are. To conclude this, before we jump into the charts, we have quite a lot of uncertainty at the moment because prices are ranging around. A lot of people on the sideline. Meme coins performing very well some day, other days they don't perform at all. There's mixed forecasts. It's leaning more bullish now for most of the people, and it really depends on your personal factors. When do you need the money? Is that some kind of retirement for you? Is this something you need in 2-3 months? So this very much depends the strategy. I will share my screen now with you, and we will jump into the Bitcoin price. We will look at the important factor, and the important factor is actually also the M2 money supply. I've shown this in many videos already. If you want to find out more about the M2 money supply chart, click on the video on top, and I will show you how it exactly works. Here we have the Bitcoin price. This is displayed on a Bybit chart, and we have a daily chart here. You see the yellow or orange line is the M2 money supply. If you want to get the M2 money supply, you can just click here on the chart and say get indicator, and then you need to pick this fine fluent global M2 money supply. This is the name of the chart, and then you apply it to your chart and try to find a match. The chart and the M2 money supply line should match. You need to click on the M2 money supply line and modify the time offset. The time offset is changing. What that means is at the moment it's around 86, it's around 80 to 100 days that M2 money supply is different from the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin price follows M2 money supply. So at the moment we are around at 86 days where M2 money supply is leading. That means Bitcoin is 86 days or something in this range later. This is why you need to put the delay on this money line, and then the money line will basically help you to predict where the Bitcoin price goes. And look at the M2. This is governments around the world printing money. If the liquidity generally globally goes up, if governments print, if they're raising or if they're lowering the interest rates and other factors, this is very good for risk assets like the Nasdaq and Bitcoin. If I zoom out here a little, I have to make sure that it still matches the lines. You see it's not 100% correct, and here it doesn't match at all because I was modifying the line at this point. This means that it's not always this kind of days. Sometimes I had the feeling in April, especially, or also here, you need to really modify the days to match. Sometimes you need to do that. If we want to predict what would be actually the price, a realistic price, according to M2 money supply, you just have to hover over here. And I give you some dates. So for example, on the 1st of June, write it down to check if this is really going to happen. On the 1st of June, the price should be around 115,000. On the 1st of July, the price should be around, here it depends, right? It could be that it's down here, so 180 to 125. 118 was it, or what was it? 118 to 125. Then we go on July, August. Let's take the 1st of August. This could be here on the top, could be 138 or 130, something like that. And then finally we have here, yeah, it now goes until the 20th of August, we would reach 140. So in September, very likely we are around 150, and most of the people predict this is the peak. I hope it's clear for you now if you should buy now or not. If you're a long-term investor, if you believe in the project, it does not really matter when you buy. A good trick is also your dollar cost average. If you don't know what that means, is you put aside every day, every week, every month a small amount and just blindly, not looking at the price, buy Bitcoin. Stack Satoshis every day, every week, every month. I hope that video was useful. Leave a like, leave some comments what you think about the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I see you. Bye-bye.